My goodness, what a match between Gunther and CM Punk on Saturday night. I just love the story that Gunther, again, the story of between Gunther and CM Punk. Gunther, just every time it looked like CM Punk was getting an advantage, Gunther would knock him down. Like, yeah, I just loved it. And then again, the feeling of what he achieved in holding that championship and then having it all taken away by the cash-in by Seth Rollins.
During the body of the match, the way, the physicality, the psychology, you said the feeling. Did you feel yourself wanting to see CM Punk win more and more?
Yes, and here's the other thing. You talk about realism and credibility. You know, and I mentioned this before, and I don't think there's been anything that's happened that's going to change my opinion. Gunther, to me, is the wrestler of the year, and here's why. And Michael Cole explained it during that match. There is no wasted motion with Gunther. Everything that Gunther does means something in the ring.
There's something that Hulk would always tell Eric. Never miss a beat. And it's so simple, but in this business, it's so big. And what does that have to do with Gunther? Gunther in that ring never misses a beat. And every beat means something. There are no wasted beats with Gunther. There's no wasted movement, as you said. The minute you said movement, I thought of beats. So many guys and gals do things in a ring just for the sake of doing them. It doesn't get them a step closer to the end result. When you listen to a band, let's just say Rush, because we can both agree Rush is a great band.
Yes.
Did Rush ever miss a beat? In my opinion, no. It's like almost every note ever written by Rush is an amazing note, never missing a beat. And that's what Gunther does. And that is almost impossible. A lot of top guys won't miss a beat because they don't do a lot in the ring. So it's almost impossible to miss the beat. Gunther does a lot of stuff, still never misses a beat.
And here's the thing, and I loved it. And, you know, you talked about, all right, well, how can this happen and why did this happen? They told that very clearly during that match. Gunther dominated CM Punk in that match, was dominating CM Punk. Every time you thought CM Punk was about to take advantage of Gunther, Gunther would knock him down with a chop or a punch or a kick. Like, he would just knock him off by the knees, where CM Punk just could not get an advantage on Gunther. How did CM Punk finally getting an advantage on Gunther? By Gunther making the mistake. It wasn't because of something CM Punk did. It was because of something Gunther did.
And this is another reason why I told you I was so interested in this match and the psychology of the match. Because in Gunther beating the shit out of CM Punk, it wills you to want to see Punk win. And you're like, damn, Punk is in trouble. This guy has got him at every turn. He's bigger than him. He's stronger than him. He's more powerful than him. And it seems like he's smarter than him in the ring.
What I loved the most was, you know, he beat him down, just as you're saying, beat him down. And then Gunther's on top of that table like he got cocky. And then all CM Punk had to do was just pull his leg to trip him up from that table, smack. His head hits the table, he gets busted open, and it was almost like, you know, what was it like the Rocky movie where it's like, you know, he's bleeding. It's like Drago couldn't believe that he was actually bleeding, and then Rocky taking advantage of it. For somebody, and CM Punk has made it clear that he's never seen a Rocky movie. You would never know it by that match, because that's almost the story they told in the ring on Saturday night.
Yeah, I think he's full of shit. But when Punk pulls the leg and Gunther falls down and you see Gunther bleed, what emotion. And this is a huge emotion in pro wrestling. And here's a hint. It's the only thing that got trapped in Pandora's box. what emotion did that give you towards CM Punk?
Hope.
Hope. And that hope is what led you into the end of that story, so that when he wins, it's that much bigger of a deal, because he wasn't winning the whole match. And then he gets that moment of time, and there's a glimmer of hope, and he was able to use that hope to propel himself to a victory, and he finally did it. Burn it down.
And before we get there, it's the moment of the victory too, and they didn't rush it, and it was great. When Punk hits that go to sleep on Gunther, and Gunther doesn't fall. Like, how great was that, where the crowd's like, he hits the go to sleep, and everybody's like, and then Gunther is just like, he's still on his feet. And then Punk had to hit that second go to sleep to be able to get the victory. Like, man, Gunther is one tough son of a bitch. He sells like nobody else can, and he's the most credible thing. Like, we saw the return of Brock. Gunther has that credibility of this badass that, like, is almost impossible to beat. And the only way you can beat him is by something like what we saw on Saturday night, where Punk did not beat Gunther. Gunther beat himself, which I absolutely love. But like you said, then you get the victory by CM Punk, and then you get the cash in from Seth Rollins. And that was beautiful too, where Seth Rollins comes out with crutches. And, you know, I was there live, so I didn't get to hear the commentary, but I watched it again on Sunday, where he comes out on the crutches. Cole did a phenomenal job of setting that up, where it's like, hey, Punk just won the championship. He's the World Heavyweight Champion. This is just CM Punk and Paul Heyman reminding Punk that at somewhere down the line, we're going to be waiting for you. He's injured. He's on crutches. He can't go. But that's just a little spoiler, a little tease that somewhere down the road, Seth Rollins is going to be waiting for CM Punk. And then you see Seth Rollins going into the back with the crutches, where, like, you know, Paul, our producer, was there, and like, Paul's like, where's he going? Why is he doing that? Because he's still injured. He's on crutches. And then he drops the crutches and he turns around, tears off the jacket, and cashes in that Money in the Bank briefcase. Like, again, the whole thing, Bully, we talked about it. You don't know. You really don't know until you actually see it. We could guess. We could speculate. We said we were 50-50 on it. Everybody's saying, I saw that from a mile away. Bullshit. You could speculate. You could predict. But you really didn't know until the moment actually happened.
The Monday after Saturday night's main event, I came on Busted Open, and I was very iffy on it. And I pointed to the moment in time in the LA Knight match where, after Seth got hurt and he pushed himself to the corner, and Heyman was talking to him, and the referee Jessica Carr was talking to him, and when Seth decided to have LA Knight pick him up and finish the match, that was the thing that happened that I went, something's not right here. I wish they would have stayed away from that. But I think that they did a great job. It was the chatter started by us the day after, because we were giving credible reasoning why we thought this could be a ruse. I'm not going to call it a work or anything like that. It was a ruse, pulling the wool over our eyes. I love it when I get got. And I wasn't even 100% sure. The only thing I would have liked to seen the WWE do with this is treat it 100% as if it was legitimate. Shit, I would have sent him down to, get the operation and show him under, in the operating room, the whole 9 yards. But they still pulled it off wonderfully. And let's just assume, Dave, that 50,000 people in that stadium knew. They didn't act like they knew. They had a great time with it, and it was a superb cash-in from Seth Rollins.
Yeah, and Bully, you're the professional, and you said you didn't know for sure. You didn't know. You saw things that made you say, huh. But you didn't know for sure. Nobody knows for sure. And I love the way that they did it, and they did the old Willy Wonka where he drops the cane. That's the same thing that, Seth Rollins did on Saturday night with dropping those crutches and turning around. It was still a memorable moment. I did a post show right after it. Seth Rollins has two of the greatest Money in the Bank cash-ins of all time. The WrestleMania 31 cash-in and the cash-in we saw Saturday night at SummerSlam. It was absolutely phenomenal. And it's funny because the same fans that are jumping up and down cheering that CM Punk had won the championship are the same ones that were jumping up and down cheering Seth Rollins when he cashed in.
I gave you the exact scenario that I thought would take place if Seth was pulling the wool over our eyes. You watched this live, Dave.
Yep.
I talked about the noise that you would hear from the crowd. Did you get the exact noise that I described?
Yes, to a T.
Because they didn't miss a beat and they played it perfectly.
Yeah, and you know what? It's the excitement of a cash-in. Holy shit, we're seeing something that, is history. And that was history. Now, it's funny because these people are so invested in CM Punk. But I can't wait to hear from CM Punk again. Like, as much as Seth Rollins and CM Punk hate each other, now Seth Rollins got over on CM Punk once again. And Punk's without that championship. He had that moment, and they did a great job of setting it up where it's like how long it's been since he's had a championship match and how long it's been since he's hold championship gold in the WWE. Then he gets it, and great job by CM Punk, like seeing that emotion on his face where it's like, I have this championship gold, and then it's taken away by Seth Rollins. We wondered, how are you going to get back to Seth Rollins and CM Punk and make it seem fresh? Well, they did it on Saturday because now I want to see CM Punk and Seth Rollins back in the ring against each other again.
And now there will be true emotional investment in Punk chasing that championship. What's the over-under on how long Seth Rollins laughs tonight when he comes out?
Oh, my God. He is going to be over the top.
I would laugh for the entire segment. That's all I would do is laugh. Don't say a word. Just keep laughing. Keep laughing until they boo you out of the building.
And here's the thing, Bully. We've been critical about like some of that snarkiness from Seth Rollins. If there was ever a time to be extra snarky, it's going to be tonight on Monday Night Raw. And I'm here for the ride. And again, Gunther and Punk was fantastic. I can't wait to see what's next for Gunther. And we talk about Dom Mysterio as the Intercontinental Champion. Gunther took that Intercontinental Championship to another level. And Bully, I truly believe that he took that World Heavyweight Championship to another level. Gunther has been able to do that. He's been able to do that as champion, not once but twice.
If you gave me my choice right now and said you can only watch one WWE superstar match, I think it would be Gunther. Because I would get to put Gunther in there with whoever I wanted to. But overall, Gunther. Because I know the type. Gunther gives me the best of all of the eras and all of the worlds of pro wrestling that I like. He gives me that All Japan feel. He gives me that NWA feel. And he gives me modern day WWE psychology. The guy is really, really good at what he does.
And Michael Cole said it best. You could have dropped him in to be an opponent against Bruno, against Bob Backlund, against Hulk Hogan, against John Cena, and now against somebody like CM Punk. It doesn't matter what era. I mean, how many wrestlers can you say? Like Hulk Hogan, I don't know if Hulk Hogan would have worked in this era. Maybe he would have. Maybe he wouldn't have. There's certain wrestlers that were perfect for the era that they were in. How many wrestlers, Bully, can you say that guy right there could work in any era? Gunther is on that short list.
There's very, very few, Dave. And yes, Gunther is one of those guys who could have done it anywhere. And not only any era, any territory. Any territory. which says a lot. It's not easy to go work. Listen, working in America and then working in Japan and then working in Mexico, very difficult. Mexico to me is a very, like Gunther in Mexico would be, because the psychology there and the things they do, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I would love to see Gunther make sense of the Mexican style.
And you know, he could do it, Bully, just by his presence and his demeanor and the way he wrestles. Like like AAA, him just chopping down a luchador. So every time the luchador tries to get advantage on him offensively, he just chops him down or knocks him down. Or like he did against CM Punk. CM Punk does the go to sleep, picks him up to put on another go to sleep, and then boom, you know, Gunther puts a sleeper hold on him. And again, kudos to Gunther for making that sleeper hold look legit again.
What body part does a luchador need to use more than any other body part?
Legs.
Could you imagine Gunther just chopping a luchador's legs? The psychology, something as simple as a chop and just chopping the leg to the point where the luchador could not do a damn thing.
Couldn't stand. Is limping. Like Gunther can do that.
The match ends because the luchador can no longer stand. Do you know how much heat that would be? And one of the things that I have been talking about for years when it comes to Gunther is the simplicity in what she does, in his psychology, and he has confidence in his psychology. Gunther will take a finish out of nowhere, meaning he'll do the finish out of nowhere, where we got, shine, heat, comeback, finish. He'll do the finish in the middle of the babyface's comeback if it makes sense for the match. And it'll work.
And like that's why I loved that match on Saturday night. I really did. Like, and it's all because of Gunther. And then you don't see blood much in the WWE. You know that, Bully. Seeing Gunther busted open like we did, you had to have him busted open. Like you talked about, about the usage of blood. This is where blood made sense in the story, because by having Gunther bleed, it showed him being weak. Like he's no longer a Superman anymore. He's bleeding. And that's where Gunther was. Like Gunther thought, I'm so dominant, I could do anything. When he looked at his hand and saw his own blood, he was in shock. He was in dismay. That's where you're using blood to your advantage in the story.
One of the words that we've been using a lot on the show is vulnerable, and vulnerable just doesn't apply to baby faces. It applies to heels also. And when you see Gunther bleed, it makes him vulnerable. Thus, you're like, Punk, now! Get him now! He's bleeding, he's vulnerable now! Now's your shot! Go get him!
And that's what happened. And Punk won. Now the story goes to Seth Rollins. And Bully, we had a conversation before the main event on Saturday, and we were talking about, man, Seth better come back. Seth better cash in, because this new faction with Braun and Bronson isn't going to mean anything by Monday night. And we got the cash in from Seth Rollins. I really do think that they should have won that match on Saturday. But I don't think it was as a necessity, knowing that Seth Rollins cashed in.
101. They got their heat back in the end. That's it.
And great job by Paul Heyman having Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker come down to not just celebrate with Seth Rollins, but to mock CM Punk. To see them down on their knees where they're just mocking CM Punk when he's flat on his back, that got the heat back on Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker.
What's the last thing you remember?
Them mocking CM Punk at the end of the main event. Like, you don't remember. I still would have done, but I don't know.
But dude, I'm the one who wanted it to happen. I totally understand what you're saying. But this is WWE 101. What's the last thing that they remember? By the time Bronson and Braun come down and are mocking CM Punk, you have completely forgotten about the opening match of night one.
Yeah, and you made a good point. What's more important? The possibility of you remembering the finish of night number one, match one, or how that set the tone for the crowd for night one. If Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, if that's your opening match and Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker win, how does the crowd react? But how did the crowd react with Jey Uso and Roman Reigns winning that match? And by the way, you had to open with that match because of the visual and how excited the crowd was to yeet along with Jey Uso. Jey Uso going through that crowd, having 55,000 people yeeting in unison. It was I'm in the crowd. It was amazing seeing that. And then having that momentum carrying you to the finish of that match. If you look back at it, it's probably more important to have Roman and Jey win than it was for Bronson and Braun to win.
I've been preaching on this show for years about the going over and the getting over. Roman Reigns and Jey Uso went over, but by the end of the night, Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker got over.
Now Paul Heyman has got to use his genius, because this could be, and this is going to be a good measuring stick tonight on Raw. Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker did a great job last Monday night with the attack on Jey Uso and Roman Reigns, where we're looking at them completely different. They can't fall back tonight with Seth Rollins with that microphone in his hand. And that's going to be difficult to do because he had just cashed in and won that World Heavyweight Championship. But we can't see Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed now fall back into the background again.
I don't want to see them fall back into the background. And all I want to see from that entire group tonight is Seth Rollins laughing hysterically. Honestly, that's what I think the whole segment should be. The whole entrance, the whole 9 yards, Seth Rollins picks up the microphone, play with the people a little, don't say a word, and then just start doing that annoying Seth Rollins maniacal laugh and do it the whole time.
I get it, Bully, but you know who I actually do want to hear from tonight? Is
Punk?
Paul Heyman.
Okay.
No, is Paul Heyman, because Paul Heyman's the one where he could be like, everybody doubted my decision. Everybody wondered why I did what I did to Roman Reigns and CM Punk. But look who's holding that World Heavyweight Championship. Like, this is going to be fun watching Paul Heyman gloat tonight on Monday Night Raw.